Everyone, welcome to the Raymond Wood podcast, where we break down exactly what it takes to go pro, from dreaming about being a pro footballer, but actually living it and how to make it. I'm your host, Raymond Wood. As you know, I work for UEFA as a player agent. I'm also a player progression specialist and the founder of the book Pro Player Pathway. And today, I like saying this, we've got a heavyweight in the world game of youth development, soccer and football, as we call it in Australia and the USA and further afield. Now, Brian, who we've got online, has spent over 20 years or more coaching football, including time at Leicester City, and developing players who've not only gone on to play for the Premier League, but also who've gone on for international recognition for teams like England. So we're going to get straight into it. So, Brian, you've been in the game. A big welcome to the podcast. You've been in the game for over 2 decades, from Leicester City to working with some of England's biggest talents. What first drew you into coaching, and what keeps your fire burning after all these years? Because I believe you've gone back again for a bit more coaching.
Well, to be honest, Ray, I sort of stumbled across it, really. My son was playing for Glenfield United, which is a local club. And I was playing at a decent level myself. And let's just say the coach didn't really have any idea how to coach. And somebody just said, why don't you do it? And this was 30 odd years ago. And I just really enjoyed it. And I just seemed to get on with the kids and have a really good connection with the kids, which I think's paramount. So important to have a connection. And I enjoyed it. And then my son didn't carry on. He actually went on to be a professional boxer. So basically then, three good friends of mine, Gary Swain, Jill Sanders, and Sir Jeff Brewster, as we call him, God bless him, and myself, started Alexton and New Parks Football Club in 1996. And it just grew. And then I just started doing all my badges. And then Leicester made a call, and that's where it started. 23 years I was at Leicester. I also worked for Umbro before that, coaching all around the Midlands. And as you know, I left Leicester finally after 23 years, moved to Cyprus to retire, and ended up doing one-on-ones, primary kid coaching, senior kids, set the girls' school up. It was absolutely flying, to be honest. And now I've come back to England, the wife wanted to come back, and I've started again here. In fact, I've had one this morning, just across the road here in Kirby Muxlow. And so, I just love it. I just enjoy it. I'm passionate. I like to think that the kids all enjoy it, and that's where I think my strengths are. I'm sort of work with the kids, but I'm on their level, if that makes sense. That's how I am.
It's funny you say about like personality, and not only how to make it as a player, but how to make it as a coach. And one of the things that I've done over the years, and I think I learned from my time when I was with you guys at Leicester, was I would go for a coach all day long on personality over coaching badges, because if you don't have the rapport with the players, forget about it. And you know what? You probably remember this period of time, but it was around that 2010-11 when the E-Triple-P was coming in and the reforms. And they were trying to force everyone into all the coaching badges if you didn't have them. And I think it was a little bit misguided, because it's made me realise at the age of 46 now that some of my best coaches I've had work for me in Australia and the USA have been coaches with no quals, but are just absolute personalities.
Exactly. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, really, Ray. I mean, I never did do my A license. John Rudkin actually asked me to do it. Tony Lochran asked me to do it. And I just said, no, I'm not interested. I said, I've got up to my B license, and I've also got Mod 1, Mod 2, Mod 3 and all them. And I've got other things, psychology and all them things. But for me, it's just the personality. The kids need to enjoy what you do. They need to have fun. And they need to have a smile on their face. I mean, I play a game called Rush, and I obviously do it. I did the under-15s my last year before I left Leicester, and I played this game called Rush, and the kids loved it. And they used to say, Brian, can we play Rush? Can we play Rush? And now, you may have a schedule and you planned it to do this, this, and this, but I'd always let them play Rush because they loved it. Chaos, but it was fun chaos. And You know, for me, it's what's
Yeah.
important.
I love that
So
game. The first time I ever seen Rush was with David Clay, and I think it was Matt and Ads, and they showed it to me, and I've used it ever since. The kids all around
yeah,
the world love it.
yeah, it's great. It's fun.
Now,
It's just fun.
talking about the Premier League pathway, obviously you've developed players who've gone on to the Premier League and England squads. But for you, Hooky, with all of your knowledge and experience, and I mean, if you were to put that in a bottle, you could sell it for millions of pounds. What separates those few who make it to the thousands that don't? What is it for you? What's the one thing, if you were to pin it on one thing?
Well, somebody said to me once, attitude, good attitude will get you a long way. Poor attitude will only get you so far. And if I take Keane Dewsbury, for instance, I remember at the old training ground coming down at 9 o'clock after a session, and I'd go in and get changed, or I might have a shower, and Keane was in the gym. Now, Keane at the time was about 18 years of age, I think. Very good player. I had him 2 years, 2.5 years, I think I had him. And I went in and had a chat with him for ages in the gym, and he said, I just do it every night. He said, I'm determined. He said, because I'm so small in frame, and I've got to build up my strength and this, that, the other. And his determination was incredible, and his attitude to working hard was just unbelievable, and he just wanted to succeed. And you've got to want to succeed. You've got to be very selfish, I think, sometimes when you're playing in an academy. You've got to think about you and the team, but you've got to think about you. How am I playing? How can I help the team? And really work hard on your own game and just really, really concentrate on it. And Keane obviously then went from Leicester to Blackpool, and then he went to Luton. So he went and done the shifts in the lowest league. And I remember they played Chelsea in the FA Cup, Luton. And I rang him after the game and I said, I tell you what, mate, if you'd have had a blue shirt on today, nobody would have noticed. He went, really? I said, tell you what, mate, you're at that level now. You're at that level. And then Leicester got him back, and the rest is history, you know. But his attitude, for me, the attitude of the players is so important. They've got to want to do it, and they've got to want to work hard. That's, for
Yeah.
me, most important, because they can have all the skill in the world. I've seen lots, and so have you. You've seen lots of skillful players who may have a poor attitude. And that's going to stop them. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
I was in Switzerland and Geneva last year at UEFA at a conference, and we were speaking about this. They said that the focus now is definitely shifted to what players are like off the pitch and their attitude off the pitch first, because that's a true indicator of what they will or won't do on the pitch. And I think that's a testament to what you just said.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Now, talking about talent versus mindset, so how much do you think, Hooky, making it as a pro comes down to natural talent, and how much you think is about maybe mindset and resilience? Because this is one that gets thrown around all the time. And I'm a big advocate of, I always say, like, talent's definitely made to a point, but there is some elements. But what's your opinion on it, Hooky? You've seen it a lot longer than me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's some players that have probably gone further in the game because of their attitude than their actual ability would normally allow, because they're
Yeah.
leaders, for instance, on the pitch. You know, they're organising, they're determined, they get wedged in, they don't ever accept anything but high levels. And I think that is so important, because you're not just motivating yourself, you're motivating people around you. Now, it might be that you're not the best player. Was Jackie Charlton the best footballer in the world when he played in 1966 for the World Cup? But you
Yeah.
talk to anybody who had him in his team. I mean, I know it was a long time ago. People forget that there was football before the Premier League. And 1966, Jackie Charlton, Robbie Stiles, mixed in with, you know, the class players, your Bobby Moores and that, you know,
Yeah.
it's so important. But yeah, I'm 100% what you've just said. I think you've got to have so much talent, but the attitude has got to be right.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't mention any names, but I can tell you there's a couple of lads at Leicester before I went to Cyprus. I had them in my team, and we went to Liverpool in the Premier League tournament, and we only had 11 players. And I remember ringing Paul Cheney and I said, "We've got 11 players, boss." He went, "Well, you've got to fulfil the fixture, because, you know." And we went up there with 11 players, and we played Stoke, Liverpool, and Sunderland, and we beat Stoke 1-0. We beat Liverpool 3-0. And then Sunderland, who they'd lost against the year before, heavily, we beat them 3-2 at the end. So we won the Premier League Cup with 11 players who had to play all the minutes. Now, that ain't just down to ability. That's down to attitude. But we had a player who was special. And I think we scored 10 goals. He got 7 of them in the actual 3 tournament, in the 3 games. And he was special. But his attitude wasn't always the best. And unfortunately, it's come back to bite him, because he's now playing level 4, level 5, and everybody was talking about him playing for Arsenal and all this, that, the other. And and it's a shame, but he didn't have that drive, didn't have that love of the game. And I think you've got to love the game as well. You've got to love it.
Yeah, I think that's the first starting point. If you don't love it, you're gonna struggle. Now, Hooky, looking at your time in the academy system, you've worked with the real young ones all the way through to the seniors, and you've seen the seniors. For parents listening, what really goes on inside the top English academy at like places like Leicester? But what I want to drill into, the more detailed question is, what are scouts and coaches looking for day to day from a player? What would you look for, and what do you think clubs like Leicester look for? Because we get asked this a lot from our parents in Australia and the USA.
Yeah, I think a lot. Sometimes is people. Well, a lot of people look at the physicality of players. That's not necessarily just the size. That's just the mobility and the agility in getting around the pitch. Because, as you know, when they're in the growing stage, they can look like Bambi, because things like that. So I always think, again, when I look at games, I don't always look out for the one who stands out. Sometimes it's the one who probably nobody else is looking at, because I just see something in him. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but I signed Billy Key at the age of 7 from Mount Sorrel. We were playing him in a 7-a-side tournament. It went to the final, and we beat them 1-0 in the final. But Billy could strike a ball. Now, he was a physically strong lad, but he could strike a ball like a 12-year-old. So his timing and everything, and he just really just stood out. But he was also physical, but he wasn't quick. So he just caught my eye. And then obviously I asked him to come to Alexton New Parks, and as you know, he went and had a career in the game. But some scouts look for the wrong things. I think sometimes you just think, he's tall, he's strong, they could be the smallest in the world. I mean, how tall's Messi? Is he 5'8", something like that?
5'7", yeah.
Yeah. So I just look for a player who's got a bit of everything, but the attitude has to be good. I've seen players. I've been this morning and doing a session over there, and there's a game going on behind me, and this lad is. All I could hear was his name being screamed and shouted from his dad. And I thought to myself, is he a good player? I couldn't really see, but I will go again when I ain't coaching and have a look. But that's all I could hear was his name. But I don't know, is he playing at the level that he should be playing at? Should he be challenging himself? Should he be playing above? Because, when teams like now, when I was younger, I used to think winning a game 6, 7, 8-0 was great. But is it? I mean, you want to see them under a bit of pressure, don't you? So I think it's a bit of everything. They've got to have talent. They've got to have good attitude, and got to be athletic. But a lot of it's up here for me. A lot of it's up there. So you need to see them when they're under the cosh. It's easy to see. But in the academy, obviously, we have players come in, and then if they go in the shadow squad, and then they look like they're able to cope, then they come up for 6 weeks, as you know. And then we look at them with the other academy players. And there's a lad now at Leicester who me and Steve Ely signed when he was 14, and we would call him Baddy. I can't pronounce his name, but he's flying. He's flying. I mean, he really is a prospect, I think. I mean, he's been around the first team, but I went and watched the 21s against Southampton last week, and he was superb. And obviously Jake Evans and Louis Page was playing. And I'm very, very close to them too. Very close. As you know, they're both in Qatar now for the World Cup under 17s. I should be messaging them soon, actually, with voice message. But they've got great attitude. Both of them work so hard at the game. So when I look at players, if I'm going to look at a player, I look at the package. I don't just look at one thing. There's a few things I think makes up a player, personally.
Love it. Love it. Now, what's the one thing that you think every young player and parents should be aware of? And when we're thinking about understanding the realities of trying to make it. So from those early ages, like if you've got players who are 9 and 10 coming into the academy, what do you think the one thing that they should be, understand about the realities of making it? What's the one thing that sticks out to you?
Well, the first thing about the parents is they need to let the coaches do the job.
Yeah,
And I think the parents are there for encouragement. And,
yeah,
again, if the parents go on at a boy or a girl for having a bad game as they're going home, they don't need that. It's almost like switch off. Let's switch that off and talk about something completely different, because the coaches will go through that with them.
yeah,
And I think also with the kids themselves, they have to understand that the level, you've gone up the level, and you're not going to be so dominant in a game as you normally would be, because you're playing against better players. You may be playing with better players, but you're playing against better players. So I think kids need to sort of understand that they're going to hit problems, and that's great. That's fantastic. I like it when they struggle, because we've got something to work with then, haven't we? Their
yeah,
attitude, their application. But then that's when you need the parents as well to be on your side and realise that you're not there to criticise their son or daughter, that you're there to help them. And there's been a few issues over the years with some parents. I think the parents can be really difficult, and that's the problem. If they're with you and supporting you, as my local club at Alixton, I remember some of the parents just stood on their own, and I said to them, "Why do you stand on your own?" I said, "Don't want to get involved.
yeah.
It's because you're got them now. That they're with you. I trust you, and that's a big word, trust."
Yeah,
So.
definitely. Now, you were just speaking about this before, and this is a great question from one of our followers as well. But when you see a young player for the first time, what's the one thing that catches your attention instantly? Is there something that you're looking for? Like, because I know it's very subjective for everyone, but I believe with all the years of coaching and being in football, I think we all get it. You do have a bit of an eye to look or spot a player. What is it for you, Hooky, that when you see a player and you go, that's it?
Well, obviously, I think the first touch is very important. I mean, again, if they can look after a ball, in tight areas, even at a young age, you think that's a big plus, because that's where all the pressure is, that's where the interference is, and if they can look after it and get out of there, that always makes me think, oh, he might not do brilliant in the rest of the game, but there might be just glimpses of that kind of first touch, got the ball down, knows where he's going to go, scanning and looking, and just, I think it's so important. I mean, the session I had yesterday with a boy who's 8, I do scanning with him, and I do a lot of it, and he never knew what the word was. I
Yeah,
had to explain it, but I call it crossing the road. So you're looking
yeah,
right there, But if the kid's 8, technically very good, by the way, Ray, but he didn't know what scanning was, and now
yeah,
I'm working. So I just do a square, little yellow, red, blue, green, and I'm passing the ball into the square, and then I'll shout a colour, and he has to go around it. But then, of course, I then move, so I go from looking at him and I go to the left. So the beauty of that is he's now turned around, so all the spots have moved. They haven't moved, but they have, because he's moved. So then
yeah.
there's all them kind of things, working on. But yeah, when I watch a game, I think the first touch and seeing a kid who knows what he's going to do with the ball before he gets it, that's singles them out for me.
It's funny you say that. Like my program that I run, and I work with players all around the world on a remotely based program now. And one of the objectives, we have 5 key objectives they follow and learn. And the number one objective, scanning. And it was the most notable thing in Australia and the USA that kids do not get taught at all. And I
No.
know in like Leicester in my time, I can remember sitting in the room in the dressing room and me and Dave, and we've got the likes of Luke Thomas in there with us, and we've worked and done bits with Harvey, and we're giving them the individual objectives. And this is going back 2010, 2011, 2012. And it's
Yeah.
like they're still not doing it now in Australia and the USA. And I'm like, it's a fundamental basic. And I think the basics of
Oh,
just being ripped
yeah.
out the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, it's again, for me, I hate to say it, but Paul Scholes, how good was he at scanning? I mean,
Yeah.
he could see everything, You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some brilliant examples, but for me, him in particular was just unbelievable. He just, you know, and I watched Louis last week against Southampton, and he's got a wonderful left foot. And but he was getting himself, he wasn't overplaying. He was getting the ball, he was laying it off, but every foot he just looking all the time to see where obviously his own players are, not just the opposition, but his own players. And he hit one ball into Baddy actually, and it played it forward in between the centre half and the left back, and it was just class. But he knew that pass. He knew that pass. He knew before he got the ball it was on, and that for me, you just have that eye, don't you, to know where to pass it, because you're looking all the time. And I think well, King Kenny weren't bad at it, neither was he. So you know
it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, talking about overcoming setbacks, you've probably seen loads over the years. And when I'm talking setbacks, I'm talking like injuries, rejection if players are getting released. What's probably the one bit of advice that you've given over the years to players, and how do you sort of word it so you know your understanding of the player?
The rejection, the release, and all that, which is, as you know, is terrible. It's the worst thing you can tell. But you're doing it for the boy or the girl, because if they're not quite there and they want to go away and build their confidence playing it in local football and enjoying it and getting a smile back on the face, then come back in and challenge again. I always explain it in a bit of a strange way, but people say it works. But it's like if you're going on the M1 and you're going from I don't know, Leicester to London, and you want it, and sometimes you have to come off because of diversions. You have to come off the motorway, but you will go back onto it. So it's a case of leaving that road, but you're coming back onto it later on. You know, and that's the way I explain it to kids, and I've done it loads of times. And I just say, you know, all you're doing is leaving this road, and then you've got a chance to get back on the road further on. It's up to you, and you know, and don't think you're not good enough. It's just at this moment in time, we think you need to be playing at a level that suits you, get your confidence, get a smile on your face, and then let's say you're back in. And that's. But as for the injuries, well, Will Alves obviously had a terrible injury at Wolves playing for the under 18s, under 21s. He played for the first team on the Tuesday, and then went there. It's awful tackle. And that he'd done his ACL, and that really set him back. But Will worked so hard, him and Sammy Braybrook, because they both had an ACL at the same time. And Will's just come back, went out on loan, and he's broke his toes, and he's back again. But yeah, I know. You just think to yourself, you know, how bad luck can you have? But yeah, I think the injuries, again, it's back to the attitude again. I remember Jeffrey Slupp. I remember I used to use the gym in the Beaver Drive, and I think he had an ACL as well, and he was there at night working so hard. And when I was in Cyprus for 2 years, Jermaine Pennant, not Jermaine Pennant, it's Crystal Palace. What's his name now? Not Jermaine Pennant. Punchin. Is it Jason? Yeah, he was
Jason.
Yeah, he lived 2 minutes up the road. And I coached his daughters and the girls, and I used to chat to him for ages. And nice bloke, really nice bloke, and talking to him for ages. And I said to him, like, you know, about Jeff, and I said that, you know, he had this bad injury, and I didn't know that. He said, but he's one of the quickest, if not the quickest player I've ever seen. So even though he had that ACL, he's worked so hard, and flying. You know what I mean? It was interesting when he said it. It's just that attitude in it, right? You can't give up, can you? You can't give up.
No,
you just got
that's great.
Yeah.
Now, you'll probably love this one with the rise of social media, online training, global scouting. Do you think it's now easier to get scouted, or do you think it's actually harder? And what's your opinion on it all? Because it's a bit of a mess sometimes.
Well, let's put it this way, Ray. If I had a grandson who was a really good footballer and I put it on social media, would I put the bad bits on?
Probably not.
So that's the thing, you see, and that's the other. Not you got to show both. You know, you put again. You do see people on there, and I've just been coaching a boy actually, and I was speaking to the manager the other week, and he said to me, he's really technically gifted, and he is, by the way. he said he's one of these can do 1,000 keep ups, and he might be on YouTube later on in life, but he said at the moment his attitude in the games is holding him back, and so it comes back to that again. You know, you throw him a ball on a warm up, and he's showing everybody up. Put him in a game, not quite the same, you know. So, but the social media, I don't know, is it good or bad? I think it depends on the individual and what they're putting on there. I mean, I just put on some basic exercises now on TikTok, and really, I just put them on there. They're not well, are they for me? I've got this BH elite football coaching that I set up in Cyprus, and I brought it back here, and I've not really pushed it yet, but I'm getting one-on-ones, I'm getting one-on-twos, I'm getting team coaching as well with Paul Pallett, PP Sports, and I'm doing a couple of sessions at the local club here, Kirby Muxlow. And for me, the social media is like, yeah, it's good to advertise things, but I put sessions on there, and I ain't putting anything on there personally for me. I just sessions that people want to look at and go, I'll tell you what, I can do that next week. Because, you know, we're all the same, aren't we? Because I might go to a park and see someone doing a session, and I'll rob their session, and they'll say, oh, that's a good session. I went, yeah, I made it up last night.
Yeah,
That's the
still
scouts
copy
of
and
me, mate.
paste.
Yeah, that's the scouts of me, mate. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, like I say, it's the social media can be great, but it can be a negative as well, can't it? Because you know, like if you put something on there and somebody puts something else on there, and the kid, I mean, there's a boy at Leicester now. I ain't seen him for a while, and he was using the huddle clips to put on his kids' YouTube, and they're not supposed to do that.
No.
So you know, because it's the Leicester City's property. That's supposed to be for the kids to look at, not for, you know, so you gotta be careful. But again, it comes back to the parents again, innit? You know, again, some of them, I mean, they just gotta let the kids let them grow.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Like, one of our objectives that we do on our online program, we do match analysis, and we get the games recorded. We send it off to Lisbon. They analyze the game for us. Then we distribute it to a coach in England. And then the coaches analyze the game, and we speak to the parents. And then the next thing, you're getting hit with 7 or 8 emails, all these goals they've scored. I'm like, stop. We're not interested. We don't want to see them in a 7-0 win. We don't want to see them scoring 4 goals. We want to analyse them in a game where they've lost 3-2, 2-2, 1-1-0. We want to see them make mistakes. I said, because we actually want to make sure we know what the mistakes are and then turn them into strengths. And it's so alien for parents because they think they've got to market their 12-year-old. And it's like, you're not marketing a 12-year-old. The idea and the reason why you're on this program is to get developed and for them to get better. And it's slowly turning the culture, but it's still a little bit behind, I think.
Yeah, it is. And I think, like I say, the coaches have to deal with that as well. And that sometimes becomes an issue because, I mean, some parents over the years, you know, I'm quite, as you know, straight talking. I don't sort of miss my words. If I've got something to tell the parent, I need to tell them for the good of the boy. And if that gets me into a discussion that gets a bit, not heated, but not, then I'm doing my job, because my priority isn't the parent, it's the boy or girl. That's my priority. And I've never done anything other than try and help. That's all I've ever done. And sometimes it clashes with people because they don't agree with you. But, you know, I'm only doing my best. That's all.
Yeah. Now, last one, mate. We're nearly there. Now, you've influenced hundreds, maybe thousands of players and coaches, and you definitely influenced me as a young coach coming in. And I think you were one of the first coaches that I first met and really gravitated towards because it was that personality. But if you could leave one message for the next generation of footballers listening right now, what would it be?
It's a good question, that is, because there's a few. I think the first thing I would say to the kids is that if you give 100%, that's all you can do, and that then is, we'll see what happens after that. But you have to dedicate yourself. But I also think along the side of playing football, do other things as well in the summer. Have a break and do paddle, and where it's football related exercises, but have a bit of fun and enjoy it with your mates, because you know, you can put you so much into football, but you've got to also work and enjoy yourself socially with other people and get on that. But for players, me personally, I just think have fun, because that is the way I coach. That is the way I've always coached. I'm not a great fan of, I'm going to do 15 minutes at this, 15 minutes at that, 15 minutes at that. So people plan the session. And I always think to myself, well, say the kids are really enjoying a session, carry on. Forget that 50 minutes. Do that next time. But for me, the kids need to have fun and enjoy and remember that mistakes are good, because when you learn from your mistakes, that's when you improve. So it's important.
Now, I was a little bit worried because obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, I am a big Liverpool fan and Hooky is as well. And I was worried coming onto this podcast today because, we are champions still. But I had a feeling we could be on 5 defeats on a row in the Premier League. But they've turned it around, thankfully, for Liverpool. So in a short 60 seconds to 90 seconds, Hooky, why do you think it started so well and then it went so wrong? And what's your belief with Liverpool and where are they going to finish at the end of the season?
Well, I think they'll be top 4. I did say before the season started I fancied Arsenal because I do think they've got a deeper squad. I also think on a human side that people have started to forget, God bless him, losing Jota, imagine being in a dressing room day in, day out with your friend and also outside of the game, family, and mix him. And apparently he was such a lovely bloke. And then he's not there. For me, Salah has probably struggled with that more than anybody.
Yeah.
And I think also that was part, and I still think it's part of the reason they've not started so well as we all anticipated. As I say, we're at the Bournemouth game and was quite fortunate, really, in a way. But I also think we lost 5 players. And we then put 5 players in. And obviously, as you know, that togetherness, that teamwork, that understanding, you have to start again. And when you've got so many coming in, it's going to cause problems. But I wouldn't write us off in the FA Cup or the Champions League. But I think the league, who knows? I don't know, because, it can turn. And if we get a defender in January and we stay close, we've seen before Arsenal can sometimes have a wobble, can't they?
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but I looked at the fixtures today and I've done an episode on our socials today. Arsenal's next 3 games in the Premier League is Chelsea away, Sunderland away, and Tottenham Hotspur in the London Derby. And squeezed in between there, they've got Bayern Munich and Inter Milan in the Champions League. So hopefully it could be a horrid November for them.
Hopefully, yeah. But I won't be crying for them, mate, will you?
Now, Brian, before I let you go, BH Elite, are we able to share your details on the show notes? And the reason why is we got 2.2 million people who follow us weekly, and a lot of them are in the UK. So if anyone's watching this and you want to reach out to Brian, I'm not guaranteeing you can get a session with him, but there may be an opportunity. If you reach out to Brian, I'll leave it in the show notes for everyone to see, and I'll leave his details and his email address. And if you want some top level coaching, then reach out to Hooky and I'm sure he'll fit you in if he can in the near future.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Cheers,
no worries. Well, a big thank you for joining us, Brian. And hopefully,
pleasure.
Wish you the best of luck with everything. And a big thank you to your incredible insights today, mate. It's been absolutely amazing. And your honesty that you've gave us across the last 40 minutes.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ray. Take care.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you. To everyone else who's listening, this episode, if it opens your eyes, share it with a player, share it with a parent, anyone who loves football, and even the coaches. The best of luck with your football, everyone, and I'll see you on our next episode at the Raymond Wood podcast.